My boyfriend is learning ASL from my deaf brother, but my friend thinks it's creepy.
Ew, what is he doing with his hands?
Throwaway because my regular account has some personal info on it. I, 21 female, met John, 22 male, in a college class last semester. He's overall a great guy. He's very respectful and kind. He also has a great sense of humor, and we have lots of similar interests. We've been friends since then, and we've started dating this July. He's the first person I've ever dated in my life. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Tall Giraffe, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, last September, he met my family when I visited home for my brother's birthday. My brother, Trev, 19 male, has been deaf since birth, so my whole family communicates with him either through sign language, Trev's lip reading, but we still just sign as a reflex, or through text. During our small celebration at home, it was clear that my parents liked John. He was very charming, funny, and respectful. He even tried to connect with Trev by typing some of his jokes for Trev to read, although my brother could lip read as well. Whenever John would tell a story, either I or my parents would sign for Trev. My parents said they're happy that I found the sweet and caring guy in John. Of course, I'm glad to hear this. Before we went back, John and Trev had a quick Call of Duty gaming session. For someone with Trev's condition, he's a really talkative guy, lol. He's very expressive and likes to communicate a lot, especially when gaming. Of course, he couldn't outright trash talk, but he does the closest things with his hands. So we are at Trev's room with John and Trev playing while I was translating for them. I was laughing way too hard because Trev was trying his best to trash talk John, like he was saying he was weak and trying to say all these explicitives, but I'm doing my best to tone it down for John. Meanwhile, I'm also translating John's instructions and strategies for Trev. Also, because this was the first time John met my family, he was saying all these praises to Trev like good job or we can do it better next time. Although I know that deep inside, he also wants to trash talk my brother. The two of them got along pretty well. They've been having some online gaming sessions since then. 2 weeks ago, John visited home along with me again for my mom's birthday. There, he surprised everyone, including me, by communicating with Trev through ASL. John was still at the alphabets, some basic words, and some redundant phrases, but we all were delighted that he even made the effort. Trev's face lit up, and I've never seen him happier having a new long-term friend with low communication barriers. Apparently, John had been watching some YouTube tutorials, got a free subscription to a educational platform to learn ASL. The two of them had a gaming session again, and at this time, John and Trev could communicate more directly. Of course, it was kind of slow, and I still had to do some translating. Imagine trying baby talk to a grown man or talking to a caveman with choppy sentences, lol. But I could tell Trev was having a great time. They also got more comfortable with each other with more explicit trash talking, which I didn't tone down this time.
You can't tone down the trash talk. It's the male experience. Am I allowed to say that? Whatever.
Who
I
am
said it.
It's the male experience. That's you.
Your face. Your face.
John had been religiously learning ASL since then, and he's making a lot of progress. I was so happy with this. So I told my close friend group from high school. However, most of my friends, especially my closest guy friend, ICU, told me what John was doing was a red flag because it could be a form of obsession and emotional manipulation. I'm gonna tell you right now, that guy is emotionally coming for you. He definitely is.
Yeah, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. That's like being like if you had like a Latin partner that if you learn Spanish you're just obsessed. It's like it's thoughtful.
If you can ask.
I dated a Latina for years and I never learned Spanish because I was a bad boyfriend.
We read that. I remember reading that. I was like, wow. We read a story similar to that.
I was like, to say, how did you read that? I didn't do that.
I've read that. We've already read that one, Dakota. So he also said it was very creepy because John's becoming too attached to my family. We've only been dating for about 5 months. He also said that John might only be doing this so he could get laid or something. I know there's some vitality to what my friend said, but I'm not really convinced. John has been a wonderful and sincere guy the whole time, and I know it's naive to say this because he's been my first ever relationship, but I can see this becoming long-term. Yes, we haven't hooked up yet because I told him I wasn't ready, and he's never pressured me to do it. However, is his behavior something I should really be concerned about? Again, I don't have any experience with dating and relationships, so I don't know if this is something that is truly concerning. My friends are pushing for me to break up with John, but I'm not sure. How do I proceed with this? Paper. Okay, so we got to edit. Well, I took a break to work on a paper, and now there are almost 1,000 comments. I'll try and do my best to process everything. Yes, John is a wonderful guy, has so far given me no reason to doubt his sincerity. It's only my friends who planted the seeds in my mind since they have all had experiences with dating and relationships. so the pressure kind of got to me. Thank you for your insight. Update. First off, I want to say thank you for everyone. Blah, 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 blah. It's been eye-opening. Great. To begin, many Redditors say that my high school friends are conniving, untrustworthy, and ableist people who never bothered learning ASL despite knowing me for a long time. But yo, that's a comment right there.
Hey, facts though. Your friends are being weird. Why is it weird that this guy's learning ASL to be closer to you and your family? Like what?
Like what? That's
It's like, dude, it's almost like he's like doing this to like create a closer bond with you so that your relationship continues to grow and blossom.
Crazy, bro.
It's like, dude, get away from him.
I take accountability for this. I'm not saying they're blameless, but it's not entirely their fault. For some context, our family moved out to our area when I was in senior year of high school due to my dad's job. The friend group, 2 guys, 2 girls before I joined, was already tight when I came in. Then they took me in after we got grouped together for a school project, and they've been with me since then. We've been friends for about 4 years now. Okay, it's not your friends, it's the close guy friend. He wants you and he's doing everything he can to get with you. They're not exactly saints, but they've helped me survive my senior year in one piece. They are fun to hang out with and they were the support I needed when I was struggling. Also during that time, my brother was having an especially hard time adjusting because of his disability, so my friends never really saw Trev a lot. To be clear, I was never ashamed of Trev. It's just that whenever my friends came over, he either locked himself in his room or was in a different area with his tutor and never really interacted with us. Whenever he does come out, he's really shy and awkward. So my friends mostly just get glimpses of him. Dude, and Trev's just happy to have a friend.
Yeah, dude.
God! What makes me more angry that you guys listen to other podcasts is that these friends will not connect with Trev.
Here's the ultimate conspiracy from Linda.
Go for it.
The boyfriend likes the brother.
By the time Trev became more comfortable in our area and found his own circle, my friends and I had already graduated from high school. We really don't hang out regularly anymore. They're friendly and polite with Trev, but then again, they never interacted as much to the point of them actually needing to learn American Sign Language for him. Now, for last week, my friend group had our year-ender party, and I decided to bring John to meet the rest of my friends. My other friend in the group also brought his girlfriend, so it wasn't really weird. Others have done so in the past as well. I've commented in the previous post that John only had met my closest guy friend. I'll call him Mike, 21 Mel. So I wanted the rest of them to form their own opinions of John after they met him. Initially, there was some tension and awkwardness from my friend group towards John. They were a bit cold, and they were throwing some harsh remarks towards him. Even though they all warmed up to him and they were actually pleasantly surprised by his personality, we all got along well and we all even had fun in our games. However, I could tell that there was still awkward tension from Mike towards John and the rest of the group. He was throwing meaner jokes than usual, and he was kind of isolating himself from the activities. Mike, I called it. Mike. He was coming after John.
I see what you're doing, Mike.
The next day after the party, I had lunch with my closest friend. Let's call her Sophie, 21 female. To clear the air, because I could tell that they had also sensed something was off, a lot of Redditors speculated that Mike had a crush on me and was jealous of my relationship with John. Turns out, you're all 1,000% correct. Oh my gosh, but it was more complicated than I thought. Dude, I freaking call that. That's
crazy.
I'm coming after you. However, he is known in our school as Notorious Ladies Man and had a new girl with him almost every month. This got exponentially worse during college. He had different hookups almost every night, and he even had a pregnancy scare with a girl last year. I knew about all of this because he bragged about sleeping around every time we met up. What I didn't know was that the entire time, Mike has been making up fake stories about me and him. Sophie told me that apparently Mike and I had a pact that if we were still both single when we're 30, we'd marry each other. Those aren't real.
Those are real. But it's 30 is too early.
30 is way too early. I did 50.
Yeah.
Okay, who's yours?
I have a couple actually.
I have one. It's Ronnie. Shout out Ronnie. If you know where, you're probably not watching. But if we're still both single, we'll get married.
So, although he told our friend group that we hooked up after graduation and that he took my V card then, so he's my special person, whatever that means, he's also told them that we've been secretly hooking up consistently throughout college. For context, Mike and I go to different universities that are just about 30 minutes away. Lastly, Mike told them that I said I'm in love with him. He told our friends not to tell me anything so I didn't get embarrassed or upset, since I have this image of him being somewhat of a prude. Mike also told our friend group that when he met John, that he thought John was a total jerk who has been manipulating me and taking advantage of my innocence and naivety. tea. He said that John had been forcing himself onto my family and is driving a wedge between me and my friends.
Dude, this guy needs to go to jail. This is a level of lying that deserves like maybe just like a posse around. Like we gotta go round him up, and like everyone just like bah, 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 and then he never does this again.
Mike also said that after we had lunch with me and John, he tried to convince me to stay away from John because he's not a good influence on me, but John had effectively brainwashed me. This explains why my friend group was already so antagonistic towards John when I told them about him. For the record, none of what Mike said was true. There was no pact. We never hooked up, and I've never been in love with him. Lies, lies, lies.
Why did they all
Lies,
believe
lies,
him
lies.
so fast? They just so fast were like, what? Oh, we don't need that. Yeah, Mike is right. Look at how big my mouth is now.
After that, Sophie and I asked the rest of our friend group, except Mike, to jump on a FaceTime call with us. They all shared different versions of what Mike told them. There were a lot more, but I disputed everything. We were all collectively shocked about everything that we learned that day. They apologized for their behavior towards me and John, and I told them I understood given all the lies fed to them by Mike, and everyone agreed to kick Mike off the friend group. Sophie suggested that maybe we could have an intervention for Mike first, but I said and I didn't want anything to do with him anymore. The rest of the friend group agreed, so we are essentially cutting him off. Sophie said she would still talk to him just to inform him of everything that happened, but I really just wanted to distance myself from her.
He needs to be exiled.
Yes!
Mike
Mike
needs to go to prison.
Get out of here.
Unlawful deception, 25,000 years jail.
Anyways, now it's been a week of being Mike free. Sophie said that when she and our other guy friend talked to Mike, he became extremely defensive, confrontational, and aggressive. He wasn't physically violent, but he called them names, attacked their characters, and made such awful statements about everyone in our friend group that I won't include here anymore. It looks like cutting him off completely was the right call. Now for some more uplifting updates. After reading everyone's comments in my previous post, there were a lot. I reflected on my relationship with John and my friends. I then talked to my parents for advice, since they have the best relationship that I know of. They told me from what they saw of John when he visited our home and how I spoke of him, it seems like he's legitimately a nice person with pure intentions. It also helps that John and I have been friends for months before we started dating. So I already knew his character even when there was less pretense of him trying to impress me. He's already impressed me on his own, though. LOL. I then told John about everything that happened and apologized, fully expecting him to be mad at me for doubting him and his intentions. Instead, he understood. Because, of course, it was just natural for me to trust my friends and expect them to have my best interests in mind. He then asked me if there was any point in our relationship where I felt uncomfortable or uneasy around him, and I categorically said no. I told him that he's my safe space and that he has nothing to worry about. He then reassured me that his intentions with me are genuine, and he even said that he sees a future with me, which I reciprocated. First love. First true love.
That's cute. That's a cute thing.
Also, John and Trev's friendship is going strong. Trev has participated in one of John's D&D sessions with his friends, and John and I both acted as translators. We were delighted to see that most of John's friends already know the ASL alphabet.
W
Alright.
friends.
Wow.
W friends.
Apparently, they have even included it in the lore of their D&D. Also, Trev had been asking John some tips for working out and getting fit lately since they have the same body type, but John is more toned. One of his brothers is a fitness instructor. Also, I met John's family for the first time for their annual get-together. It was super fun. There were games, contests, and also, I wasn't prepared for it, but apparently, since their mom is a theater performer and their dad is a music producer, it was their family tradition to have a talent showcase. And by the way, if you want to see some more of this extreme talent, all you got to do is go to where, Dakota?
Okay, story time.
On your favorite podcast platform, just search up OK Storytime, and there you will see the talent that we are here. You just saw a little bit of it. We got better talent on there. Don't you guys worry. Anyways, I love this. I really hope, you know what, guys? I really hope that this isn't just like a first love thing and that this actually goes on.
I think it will. I'm going to confidently say that they will last forever until the heat death of the universe.
Forever.
They gave me a pass this time, but told me I should prepare something impressive for next year. LOL, John and his brothers perform. Bye, 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 NCYNC. in full Deadpool, Wolverine, and Captain America costumes, while his sisters and their husbands did Defying Gravity from Wicked. Oh wow, this was very recent. That's crazy. Their parents did A Melody from The Sound of Music. It was a total blast, and I felt their family's warm welcome, and they really treated me as one of their own. I could see where John got his good values and looks from, though I think I need to start taking voice and dance lessons to keep up with them. LOL. So that's it for the update. My relationship with John is stronger than ever, and I finally know who my true friends are. If you made it this far, thank you so much for your time. Happy New Year to all of us. Happy New Year. Relevant comment. OP added this as a reply to a deleted comment. Not gonna lie, I became more and more furious with every line that Sophie and my friends told me Mike had done and said about me. Felt like an episode of Black Mirror or some psychological thriller or something, because all this time, my friend group apparently had this different image of me based on lies. I've also told my parents about Mike. They knew him pretty well too, and they said they knew from the start that he was up to no good. I was just too bratty to listen to them, and they warned me back then. Right now, I'm just glad that this is all behind me. I'm also really grateful that I found a wonderful man in John, who had been extremely loving and understanding throughout this all. Blonde Boba Fett says, by the way, Mike probably lied about others too. Any stories you've heard are likely lies, and you should think back if there are any other women who might have been impacted by his falsehoods. I've definitely had guys lie about hooking up. It's more common than I realized. OP says, my friend group and I compared notes, and we've uncovered a lot more lies than Mike has told about himself and each of us. He apparently caused a lot of petty drama throughout the years. We're still not done processing everything because we're all just shocked and dumbfounded, and it made us reevaluate everything. Peter Pat 64 says, don't let your friends off the hook. They chose to believe Mike without bothering or confirming anything with you.
Exactly. Those people suck.
Okay, yeah, during my lunch with Sophie, where we had a FaceTime call with our friends, I confronted them as well on why no one bothered confirming anything to me. They apologized for everything. Then I also understood why it was so easy for everyone to believe Mike's lies. Our group dynamic has always been that I am closest to Mike. We live just 10 minutes away from each other. Then Sophie, then the rest of the group. However, the four of them have been friends with each other for like 5 years before I came in. Before Mike became a ladies' man in high school, he was always a smart kid who always either first or second in class. Despite his personality, he was still a very credible person in our eyes. Add to that the number of years they've known each other, and that's why they blindly trusted him about everything he said about me. That is the end of that story, everyone. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Can we all hit a wow? Wow.
Wow.
Wow.